Okay. Hello, everyone. 8-pointer cross cheater buster. nice comment. Yeah, I think most of you would have seen the title. Probably, like I, I generally sometimes see the lead code contest and feel like, is there really any question that I would want to take a stream for? And I wish sometimes that, oh, I wish this weekend there is some question that I can take on stream and it's worthwhile taking and solving some problem, right? And obviously this time we have the 8-pointer question, so that we'll discuss. uh, weekly ka fourth problem insanity tha. It's not that hard. Okay, it's fairly hard. It's actually hard, but I've seen more harder 8-pointer problems in my opinion. But then it is non-trivial. Like if it takes me 15 minutes, means it took me around 15 minutes to figure out what's the idea for it. And probably I think we'll discuss that problem, right? Yeah. But still, even after reduction, I don't think most people would be able to solve it. It's not easy in my opinion. Okay. Hello, sir. What can be the rating of the 8-pointer? I think it's a 1900 plus problem for sure. Short. Okay. Okay. Buy and sell stock 5. Is it similar to that? Buy and sell stock 5. We'll discuss this. First of all, I think since I've made the title as, yeah, just see 8-pointer and skip. Yeah. No. It's a doable problem. Of course, DP related. ICPC review. Yeah, one more thing that happened this week was the ICPC, right? And I think maybe we can do a separate stream for ICPC. Yeah, it's 2000 plus. It's 2100 ish in my opinion. It's not. It's not like extremely hard in code forces level. I think it's 2000 rated problem. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Let's get started, guys. Let's get started. Let's not waste any more time on discussing how hard it was. Let's instead start thinking around. Like, of course, I have seen the problem because I'd love to see the problem. Last two ICPC were good. Yeah, I think ICPC also saw. I saw number of cheaters in ICPC. So as long as you have a model which is as good as, say, a 1600 person, right, and you can parallelly run multiple number of things, I feel like anybody can run a model and solve till fourth problem in most contests. The last problems generally is what is decider. Yeah, there's a divide and conquer DP that you can possibly use, but I don't know. Like there are, it's much harder than what we can possibly solve. Divide and conquer DP optimization is a 2700 rated problems, like seals and Goldora करके problem है. There's standard problems on code forces on divide DNC DP, and it's not that trivial in my opinion. Okay. So let's get started. I'll share my screen quickly. Okay, so since it's 8-pointer first, I'll actually go in the order in which we should go this time, which is first we will look at the last problem. Since it's a 5-pointer, I think my streams are really made for 6-pointers and plus. Okay, so we will start with 8-pointer and then we will go back to this contest and maybe look at the last problem again. I haven't read the last problem, but assuming it's a 6-pointer, should be solvable impromptu. And in the last contest also, I think we will look at the last problem because it's a 6-pointer, right? That's the agenda for today. We will look at today's contest last problem, 8-pointer problem. Then last contest's last question, which is 6-pointer, and last week's contest's last question. Okay. Okay. Clear, everyone? Is the agenda clear? And of course, we'll try to look at how we can solve these questions from first principles. Only the only problem that I've seen is this 8-pointer one, because I understood that this is something I need to see before I take the stream, because I need to be able to explain the idea, right? Okay. Or you could have seen me 15 minutes thinking about random stuff and then coming up to the solution, right? So let's start with this 8-pointer, and I think we'll get to that. Don't I'll not take questions related. I'll take all these questions related to internship, placement, job, DSA playlist, whatever these are at the end, right? These are not the agenda for today's stream. At the end, I'll pick some Q&A. Dash 2. Okay, I understand that some of you might have struggled at the third problem, but let's try to solve the fourth problem for now. The third problem, you can read the editorial. I think there are good editorials of that gets created, right? Okay. So this 8-pointer problem says that there is an array and an integer k. You have to make k partition, at most k partitions, and nums is cyclic, which means the things wrap around from the start and end. For any range, the reward that you get is the difference between max minus min, right? And it is the sum of each range max minus min, right? So basically what the question is saying is it's almost like an array, and you have to break it down into k partitions. Like there will be each partitions made, right? And each partition will contribute its own max minus min to the total sum. This will contribute, and their sum is what you have to maximize, right? So whenever I see these kind of problems now, like there are certain nuances added in the problem. The first nuance is added is cyclicity. Number one, like whenever I see problems after I have practiced enough, what I try to see in the problems are nuances that has been added. One is cyclic nature of an array. Okay. The second thing that has been added is this max minus min. This is something I'm seeing, like I'm not seeing for the first time, but this is like a new thing that is added in the problem, which is non-trivial or might be something that can lead us to the solution, right? Then what else? Yeah, that's the normal thing. Now, as soon as you see a problem where you have to break it into partitions, the first thing that should come to your mind is DP. How many of you think this is true? Like in DP, if you have seen my workshop, there is form 2, where I have explicitly told that when you are dealing with subsequences or partitioning of an array, in most problems you are sort of dealing with form 2 problems. Okay. Anybody who has watched my like streams and has seen my DP content would understand that as soon as you see that you have to partition an array where each portion is contributing some cost or something, it's form 2. Or maybe in very small cases it can be form 4, but that's a remote chance, right? Append and then see how to treat first index. Yeah. Okay. So this is essentially a form 2 problem, and I think many of you might have solved. I think Laksh mentioned that there is buy and sell stock kind of problems, and these kind of questions I think you might have solved, right? Buy and sell stock. Right, this kind of problems that you have to like take sell on this. Okay, this kind of problems. This is a very classic problem, buy and sell stock. Okay. If you haven't really solved this problem or something similar, it's harder to do this. Box stacking, though, it's a LIS problem, no? Like once you sort by one criteria, the other side you have to get LIS. Like, I don't want to get into other problems. But this is a little complicated. I mean, it's little in depth if you don't know how things work. So there are two things to decode. One is this cyclicity, and the other thing is max minus min. Okay, so whenever you get cyclicity in a problem, there are two techniques that I have generally seen being used. Whenever you are getting cyclicity, there are two primary things and sometimes some more ideas, right? The number one idea that I've seen is take the array, concatenate itself again, and then like this is the full string, this is the cyclic string with one character coming at the end, this is the cyclic string with two characters coming at the end, right? Suppose a b c a b a, right? If this is a string, if you add this again, you create this. If you rotate it by one character, you will get this string, you will get this string, you will get this string, right? So all rotations of this string you can generate by using something like s equal to s plus s. Clear, everyone? This is one of the common tricks that you need to know to deal with cyclicity. This is a very common trick to use when problems have cyclicity in its nature, that you concatenate the same string again at the end of it. Okay, and then solve for all the n length stuff. For every n length stuff, you can solve the problem. Okay, this is one strategy that you can use for such problems. But in this case, we are not dealing with only n size stuff, right? We have to deal with any possibly size, and the max minus min might not cover everything. So it's not really of this type, but this is one idea I just wanted to quickly give an idea. Okay. Correct. Yeah, I think I'll give this problem. This is essentially a good problem that you can pick up. Like, given a string t, find it in all rotations of s, whether it's present and what index it might be present and so on. Okay. Okay. So this is the first idea that you need to learn in cyclicity. The second way that you deal with is you break the cyclicity, assuming that there is a break over here, and this part with this part at the end will be your string. So there is this I can call as pivot. Okay, at which you are breaking the array and you are saying that this much portion, this is how it will look like when I'll solve for optimally, right? Whenever I'll solve this problem, I'll use this pivot as where I am starting the string, and I'll behave as if this is my string instead of the original string. And in some problems, you might need to move the pivot for every iteration. Like, we can possibly solve this problem by trying all possible pivots. There are O of n different pivots, and then try to solve the problem. Does this make sense to everyone? That if it's cyclicity, like think about this string, if it's cyclic, let's say, and you are making some partitions, right? You are making some partitions. So this partition will happen somewhere over here also, right? And this part is together. So we can assume that the string starts here and then you are partitioning a normal string. Clear? So if there is an n-sized cyclic string and you are making k partitions, did they give us k breaks or k partitions? You have to break it into k subarrays, right? K subarrays. So we assume that the first partition is here, and now you have to like kind of break it into this. We can possibly try all possible solutions here. Okay. So this is the first idea, that you might try to break at any particular point. Yeah, at most k. So k will be always be a parameter of the DP part. Like, we will handle it in DP. That is different thing. But if exactly k, then it will look something like this. So we are starting here. So what we are saying is, given the array, if we have to break at certain point, we will start here and we will solve the problem for this array. Okay. And we can try all possible pivot. And now comes the trick, number one trick, which I feel makes this problem go from 6-pointer to 7-pointer, is an observation. This even I was thinking for some time, like how do I handle this part? Because rest of the DP and also is easy, like even at my level, and if you practice a lot of things, you can solve many such problems. Like this partition, if you have solved enough problem of POM2 and if you have studied the DP framework that I've taught, like you will be able to detect that this is a DP in very quick, in very, like probably in 1 minute, I feel, right? But then the hard part is that you have to look at these observations, which generally comes in harder problems. Okay, exactly. So the idea is, suppose you have an array and there are bunch of elements. Okay, suppose you will make some partition here, some partition here, some partition here, and this is cyclic, right? Let's say that the global minimum or global maximum of the array, this is the global minimum, and let's say this is the global maximum. Okay, now my claim is that it always makes sense to make a partition at the start or end of a global minimum or a global maximum, either way, because it's anyway symmetric. If this is M global, forget about maximum right now. Suppose you break this way, right? This is the 3 partitions for you. Okay, in this M is at an extreme. Okay, now if you think about that, suppose there is a partition which contains M somewhere here, the smallest minimum element is here, and in this partition where the minima is present, minimum of the array is present, suppose the maxima of that subarray is here. So if I move this partition slowly here, it will not change my answer. Is that correct? First of all, you have to realize that if you start moving it here, for this portion, the minima minus the maximum minus minima will not change, correct? Is this first of all making sense? That for this portion, which has this small minima means minimum of the whole array. Yeah, this wraps this side, no? This wraps to this side. So the portion that we are dealing with is this. Now, if I move this, still the answer for this last portion will not change. And this portion will only get bigger. This will become bigger. Why? Because as you engulf more elements, the maxima can only increase, minima can only decrease. So your value that you are contributing to the answer will only increase, right? So it is always optimal to start sliding it towards this. Yeah, M is the global maxima. No, M might not be global maxima. Like this same thing will happen for global maxima as well independently, but M is the maxima of this partition, of the partition where the global minima is present. Okay, if you are saying that this is your global minimum, okay, this element, then in that partition, whatever is the maximum, I don't know where it is, but it will be in one of the sides. If this is my minimum, the maximum will be here or the maximum will be here. If the maximum is here and my partition looks like this, it is better that I, like, let me just move this. If this is my array and this is my capital map, the maximum or the minimum, and if my partitions are here, if I move this here, the answer for this segment will not change, and the segment for this side that you are increasing, the length you are increasing will only increase, because as you are engulfing more element, like suppose there is an array whose max minus min you are trying to see. If you add one more element, no matter what the element is, this value will only increase. First of all, is this clear to everyone? In an array, if you have its max minus minimum, if you add one more element, this will only increase. Okay. Yeah, you can pick any one of them, because all of them, like any one of them will be in one of the partitions. In that partition, whatever is the maximum, I'm trying to refer to that as its own maxima. It can be anything else also, right? There is no uniqueness constraint here. So this is what you have to deal with. The two tricks in this problem is this. Number one, cyclicity. There will always be a partition where the global minima is on one end. Okay. And the second thing, this max minus minimum. If you calculate max minus minimum of a set, if you add more elements, it will only increase. Max minus minimum, as you increase more elements, only keeps increasing. It can never decrease. This is the two observations that are required in this problem. And of course, it can only come if you have seen some similar problems or if you are able to derive them with cases in the contest. But of course, it's an 8-pointer, so it's a hard question. You have to 8-pointers are something that you have to learn. Unless you have seen similar problems, unless you are coming to these streams and understanding these hard problems, I don't think you will ever be able to solve these problems. But if you learn, I think eventually you will reach a level where you can solve these problems. Okay. So number one, I think this was the harder trick. I was not able to first detect this for some amount of time. This though I knew, like, because max minus min, if you keep taking more elements, max will increase, min will decrease. So this difference will only increase. Simple, right? But this part, that minima of the whole array will have partition over here or over here. So now suppose we are given an array 3, 5, 1, 2, 4. Okay, I can convert this into this array and say, hey, this one is going to be extreme on this side and its own partition maxima will be on this side, and try to partition this in whatever way you want to do it. Or if the segment where 1 will be there, if the maxima is on this side, then here I will border it here. So what the other type of array that I'll create is so the global minima that is here will have one of the boundaries here or here. So these are two arrays that if you solve for will always be giving you the optimal answer. Could you do this on your own? Yes, but it took me 15 minutes. And my 15 minutes means in most 15 minutes to think, of course, not code, right? But my 15-minute means it's hard. Okay. If it takes me 15 minutes means it's hard. Okay. A demotivating problem. Not really. I mean, this is still an interesting problem because this teaches you so many observations. And in my opinion, only when you solve these problems, you will learn such things like how to handle cyclic, how to handle max minus min. This is what you have to learn. Not a flex here. I mean, I understand the realities and like, I don't think anybody would pick problems like this and try to discuss on YouTube, right? That is the main issue, because this is what is hard and you have to learn these things. Okay. Okay. So the hard part of this problem was the original array. Dealing with this cyclicity is very hard. So we will always make the minima come to the first or come to the last and solve this normal array problem that make the partitions in a way that it is always optimal, make k partitions. Not minima and maxima beside, minima at the start or minima at the end. So now the question became, like, as I told, right, that where is that idea? That when you have cyclicity, you will take the array and you will shift this pivot like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for solve for this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 solve for this, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 solve for this. You had to do this. But now we know if the minima is here, the only two possible arrays are these two. Rest will not give me an answer. Okay, this is the main observation. How to ask you question like how contest without AI if I had to solve? I don't know what do you mean by that. Okay, why the rest can't get it? Because as I told, no, rest might get the optimal answer, but you will always get the answer when minima is one of the endpoints, because it is giving you more possibility. If minima is one of the endpoints, then you will always it is always possible to do it. Okay, what to do if you become blank? I'll be very honest. I actually start scribbling on a notebook, and what I write is these two things. And this one, as soon as I write, I'll try to think about this is a monotonic function. The more elements I add, the more it increases. As soon as I write, I will first try to think in this way, and I was not able to solve. Then I was trying to think about this pivot movement, and then it was giving me some n square k or n cube k solution, and then I was thinking how to reduce that. That's how I came to this idea. Okay, first you build a solution and then you try to optimize. But again, since I'm now explaining it in a little way, in a different way, then I'm explaining the observations first. Since we are trying to maximize, yes. So the observation is, if the global minima is here, one of the partitions will start here or one of the partitions will end here, and you can still get the optimal answer always using this. Got it. What rating I must be? Is it premium? Depends. If you have done DSA, I think I made a video recently about this. If you have done level 2, then you can join EZ. I feel that's the best part. I mean, even if you have not done, you can do it, but it will be a little hard for you. But it's a level 3 training, in my opinion. Like, if you know the basic sheet level questions from different topics, if you want to grow beyond that, then you go for AZ Premium. It's not for learning basic DSA. Find the minima. Yes, still I think the idea would have yeah, I think that would have been interesting. Then we'll have to think again probably. But this observation is what made it possible that you can see the minima on one of the two ends. Now, once you have this observation, that you can rotate the array, like whatever is the array given, like what we will do, I'll show you the example maybe. In this case, 1 is here. So solve for this array and rotate it such that 1 is at the end and solve for that array. So now we have to basically say, given an array, partition it in at most k parts, such that for each part, max minus min is highest. Like max minus means summation is highest. This is what we need to do. Right? Yeah. And for this is a very typical DP form 2 problem. That, hey, for this much, if you have to make it in k parts till from 0 to I, DP of I comma k says, from 0 to I, if you have to make k partitions, what is the optimal thing that you can do? So maybe the last partition starts from index j to I. So you can possibly get the cost of this last partition. The reward for this will be max of the range j to I minus min of the range j to I plus dp of, you have to solve from 0 to I. So now you are solving only for 0 to j minus 1. So j minus 1, and you can make k minus 1 partitions. Okay, this is the DP. So DP, this is DP form 2. It says if you have to partition 0 to I ending at I, the form 2 says ending at I. 0 to I, if you have to partition with k partitions, loop on the last, where will the partition happen? From there to this part, you can find the minimum minus maximum. This is one thing, and you will recurse on this DP, because rest of the key, like this is the last one partition. So k minus 1 partitions should happen here. So k minus 1 partitions happens in 0 to j minus 1 index. I solved over 200 questions on LeetCode, but struggled to solve even one in contest. Watch my last video. When written by you. No, this is like, if you have practiced DP forms from my DP workshop, then this you can do on your own also. Okay. So this is exactly how you do this DP. And of course, we can to pick this J anyone. So you will pick the one which gives you max out of all the J's. So from here to here, if you have to make k partitions, you will try this, all different partitions you will try, and whichever one, this max minus min and DP of this I comma j minus 1 comma k, whichever one gives me the best maximum, that J I'll use. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the time complexity of this DP? Yeah, I think my channel does gives a little bit of reality check. But again, we do hard problems in this channel. That's a little there. But again, you have to learn harder stuff sometime. So there is n, this I is an index. So there are n possible I values. K can take 0 to k given in the problem. And in this, we are looping for J. J can be at most n number of elements. So transitions are n, states is n into k. So the formula is number of states into 1 plus average number of transitions. So n into k, 1 plus number of transitions, which is order n square k. On Saturday night, no, don't get these biases by one contest. Okay. If you are able to give 10 contests and then you see a pattern, then tell me that. Okay. Yeah, Abhishek, I'll agree to this. Practice 60% hard and 40% medium. That's a good enough ratio, I feel. Okay. Is this DP clear to everyone? I think those who have learned DP should be able to read this expression. How many of you are able to read this DP expression? I need honest +1 or -1. That Vivek, when you tell me this, I'm able to understand the DP that you are writing in on the board. +1 bola, it's not +5. +1 if you are able to understand the DP expression that I've written. I mean, if you have practiced DP, I think ideally you should be able to do it. If you have not, then write a -1. There is nothing, there is no shame in accepting that, Vivek, I have still not learned it. It's not that you are not capable of doing these things. It's like you have not learned it yet that well. Okay. So this is easy at this point. Like when you have learned DP form 2, then n square k is something you can always do. Okay. If you have not learned DP yet, very well, my recommendation is do the DP workshop on my channel. It will really change the way you are thinking about DP. Yeah, similar to rod cutting, you can say. They are all form 2 problems. Okay. Now, Vivek, how do we optimize from over here? That n square k, this is what is given, and we have to optimize from here onwards. Okay. This is the hard part. This is the second hard part. Like, as I told, right, that there was this trick. Where did I write that? Okay, that this minima will be one of the extremes. This trick made it go from 6 pointer to 7 pointer. The other hard part of this problem is how do you optimize this thing further to O of n into k type of something like that. Okay, and this is the second thing that makes it go from 7 pointer to 8 pointer in my opinion. Okay, oh perfect. Laksh, if you could think of it, that's perfect. I mean, that's what I also thought, and this is a very interesting idea that I think more people should know. Just how do you manage have you taken or not using states, right? Nice. Just solving twice with two transforms of original array. Yes, that's the main idea, solving it twice. But still, after that, there is this DP. How do you optimize it from here to here is the next trick. And this is similar to that problem that I showed you earlier, which is buy and sell stock 5, right? But then let's try to understand, okay? Minimum, maximum, minimum, maximum, maximum, minimum, right? So here in this case, in the problem, you are supposed to break the array into partitions. Okay, it is same as choosing bunch of minimum maximums, minimum maximums, maximum minimums, right? You have to basically choose bunch of pairs. You can choose at most k pairs such that their difference of max bigger minus small is as much as possible. Is this similar? Is this the same thing? Now you might get confused, Vivek. Can I choose these two pairs? Like suppose this and some x is here. Can I choose these two pair? Yes, you might choose, but it will never be better than the choosing the maximum because you have to maximize this. So it is always optimal given a partition to choose the biggest element there and the smallest. So if I convert the problem from max minus min to being like, hey, choose pair, choose pair, choose pair, and one of them will be the minima and the maxima, right? And this will give you, this is one of the possibilities. Okay, can they prove that n raised to 10%? क्या पूछते हो? Clear everyone? ये कहाँ से आ रहा है तुम लोगों ये n to the power 7 plus 7 is never a perfect square. It's a maths Olympiad question. I think perfect squares are of 6k and 6k plus 1 format always. So you just need to prove that this can never come here. So since this is 6, I think some Fermat's little theorem you can apply and then see what possibilities this can get, and you will get that it's not possible. Something like that, I feel. Okay. So now what we will do is we have to just choose minimum maximums from the array. So what I will do is I'll write DP for every element. I'll say how many more pairings are left. Yes, send Laksh, if you have written this, I think you have written the similar stuff only. Just send me in the LinkedIn. I'll share it with everyone. I comma hash pairings left. How many pairings have I have to create yet? And the state of the current pairing. Okay. So we'll start by DP of 0. I have k pairings left. I can discard also. It's not, but I think it will always be optimal to take more elements as much as possible, right? I can like, and the state is I have not taken anything. So this state currently taken is I have not taken anything, no M or capital M. 1 means I have taken minus M, like I have taken the minimum, but no capital M. 2 means I have not taken the minimum yet, but I have taken the capital maximum. There is no 3 state because it will automatically just reduce the number of pairings left. Okay. So this is basically saying I am starting here at the first index. I'm solving this problem now with form 1. You can solve it with form 2 also. That's also possible. But because this modeling, this is something I have covered in my YouTube channel, and this is a very powerful DP format, okay, for harder problems called multi-stage DP. I'll show you. If you go to my channel and just search for multi-staged DP, I don't know if it will be able to find my, yeah, this problem. Look at this problem. Okay, this is something I think I covered, and basically it maintains states 0, 1, 2, and what is the last character stage. Okay, this is a very interesting idea. So you have to, given an array, you have to take exactly k non-empty subarrays such that sum is maximum, something like this. And this is also multi-staged subarray. DP of I, what stage are you on the current subarray that you are dealing with? This is what this problem also uses. Okay, so I'll share this link with you all if you want to read this multi-stage DP idea. This is what this idea, like this formulation, is a little bit about. Okay, yeah, we can do that way. Basically, you can say extending, but you don't need to keep track of the minimum and maximum. You just have to choose 2 elements from the subarray, and one of them will be maximum, one of them will be minimum. And since we are trying all possibilities, it will automatically max out to the best one. So we are starting that I am at the 0th element. I have not taken anything. There are k subarrays to be, k pairings to be taken, and I have not taken any pairing. So there are now options. The first element can be a minimum, it can be a maximum of the subarray, or it can be nothing. In that case, I can possibly go to DP of 1 with k subarrays, and I have still not taken either small m or capital M. Or if I take this as my minima, then I will go to DP of 1. I have to make k subarrays, but one of the subarrays now I have taken like the minima. So I have taken the minima here. So, and whatever I will make here forward, when I will take this, I will incur minus ARR of I. Let's make this I because it will anyways be the general format. Okay. And if I take the first element as the maxima, in that case, DP of I plus 1, K, I have taken the maxima plus ARR of I. So whatever I can do here forward, if I take the minima and close it and all, whatever score I will make, because when I take a minima, it will just subtract the minima. And when I will take the maxima, it is like adding the maxima. So whenever I'm taking a maxima element, I'll incur a plus cost. And if I'm taking a minimum element, I'm incurring a minus cost. And I'm tracking that in my state. Now, when I am say DP of I, comma K, comma 1, right? Which means I am at the ith element right now. Right before this, I have taken the minima of the window that is currently going to be there. So here at ith element, I can only do 2 things. I can either discard it. This is discard. This will be minima. This will be the maxima. I can discard it. So I will assume that the maxima will be taken later. So I can go to the next element, I plus 1, k subarrays I'll have to still make, and I can, I'll still at the same state. Or I can assume that this is the maxima. In that case, I will go to DP of I plus 1, and I will immediately close this subarray because I got the pairing. So what I'll do is I'll say I got one pairing. I'm again at a reset stage now, like there is nothing taken now. And I will, since I'm taking this as the maxima, I will incur ARR of I as a positive thing. And if I am at DP of I, comma K, comma 2, which means I have already taken a maxima, then I can only discard this or take it as the minima. And in this case, I will go to dp of I plus 1, k 2. And if I take it as the minima of the current subsequence, then I'll go to dp of I plus 1. Since maxima has been taken, minima is this current element. So this subsequence will end. I will reset, and this subsequence will get like ARR of I as the minima. So it will get subtracted. This will be the full recurrence for this problem. And out of all this, like everything that I've written here will, since we have to find the maxima, we'll take max everywhere. Max, max, max. Okay. This is essentially the idea of this problem. This is what I call multi-stage DP, that you are maintaining which interval you are currently dealing in and which stage are you on in the current interval. And based on the current state, you will decide what rest to do. Okay. This is also, I think, similar to another trick. If you search non-trivial DP tricks on Codeforces, right? There is this famous blog on Codeforces called non-trivial DP tricks and techniques. And here there are multiple ideas. One of the ideas is this open close trick. Okay. And if you see this particular problem, it says imbalance of a group is defined by minima. Is it the same problem? Imbalance of a group is defined as the maxima in the group minus the minima in the group. You are given n students in the project. You have to divide it into groups. This so how many ways are there? This is a little different, but this basically says how many ways are there to divide the group such that imbalance of our group is at most k. The maximum value is k. This is what is given in this question. Okay, but it is very similar to this question, no? Oh, that's why I thought, like, why do I know this problem? Little bit similar problem, I feel. There is no cyclicity here, but this is the same DP optimization trick. That maxima minus minima, and you have to kind of do this. This also has the same optimization. And if you will read, this is the same like state maintenance, that where do you do plus minus, and according to that. This is the same idea. Okay. This is the trick required for this problem. And if this, and all the, like, these last parts are fairly hard. These tricks are very, very hard. There are more like interesting ideas in this problem. Okay. So this is the main idea required for this problem. Little bit like similar to this open close trick into like open and closed interval trick. Okay. And of course, this is hard problem. Like this is again old problem, very, very old. So that's why it's high rated. Nowadays, it will be 2021 rated problem. Okay. So this is the DP state idea for this problem. So the plus minus, how are we doing? I don't understand. Can you please repeat? Basically, the idea is for every element, like, see, currently there is a subsequence started. So you are at the 0 configuration. If you have taken the minimum, then you will go to 1 configuration. If you have taken, let's say, let's create 3 configurations: 0, 1, 2, 3. 1 means you have taken the minimum. 2 means you have taken the maximum. And 3 means you have taken both minimum and maximum. So right now, when you are starting, you are saying that I have taken none of them, none. So for every element, it will be either the minima or the maxima, or it will be none of them. If it is none of them, then you will stay here. This is discard. If it is the minima, then you will go here because you have now taken the minimum. And if it is the maxima, then you would go here. Now suppose what you are dealing with right now is this state, which means you have already taken the minimum and you are right now at this element. If this is discard, then you can stay here. But if you take this as the maxima, then you will get both the minima and maxima of the current interval. So you will go to this state 3. But in our code, we are not writing 3, because as soon as you reach 3, we are getting both minimum and maximum. So we can close the interval here and start the next interval. And that is why I am going to, whenever I am getting minima and maxima, I am going to k minus 1 and reverting back to the state 0 for the next interval. So this is almost like designing the state machine or the automata for this. That I have covered some problems like this in my DP workshop, that managing the state or restriction in the problem in your states is an art, in my opinion, and this is what you have to practice. Clear, everyone? Are you guys getting the idea what I'm saying? This is the main idea of this problem. Let me show you the code, then you will be able to make, like, now if I show you this, the code is easy to understand, but the harder part is how do you get this state yourself. That is the harder part. But once you have learned this, now that you can take, basically you are currently having an array and you are building the current sequence. So in the current sequence, this will be nothing or the minima or the maxima. So for every element, you have 3 choice: minimum, discard, max. Discard means it will not influence my answer. So it's like form 1. So for every element, you are choosing discard MM. So in the current sequence, if you get the M, then you still need to wait till you get the maxima also. Yes, you can solve this problem by adding minima, by adding the global maxima at the start or end also. That will also work. Okay. So I have not gotten my minima maxima. If I will get the minimum, I will do the minus M and I will wait for my maxima. When I will get my maxima, I'll do plus M and I will say, hey, solve DP of whatever is left. And I need to do k minus 1 partitions now. Yeah, this DP will be O of n into k, right? This DP will be on n into k. Like there is 3 here, but basically they would have maintained some sort of these values in a separate array. Okay. Yeah, n into k into 3, you can see that. There are many ways to model this, but again, something that you can derive yourself. No, like, magically, if I'll write an array and someday and it is automatically solving this problem, that you cannot think of. But this is something that you can possibly think of, like, because if you know multistage DP, this is very similar stage problem. For an instance, as I showed you that problem, right? That Codeforce's non-trivial trick blog. If you would have seen that problem before, then this problem is doable. Yeah, it is possible without 3. I don't think I'll be able to build a recursive solution easily that I can explain. Yeah, this is hard to do in OA unless you're like, I think this is like 2100. Like you have to be yellow in Codeforces to be able to solve this problem, in my opinion. It's not easy. This problem is not easy. Without understanding the DP concepts, then what are you watching this for? It just looks cool to see you, Vivek, solving questions. Is that why you are watching? Yeah. This is a hard problem. So this is the main idea of this problem. This is the trick. Now, the more you see this, the more you will be able to understand. The more you think about this problem again and again, the more you will be able to solve this problem. Okay. I think Laksha sent me the solution for the 4th problem. And I'll show you all. I think recursive solution only I'll show because that's what I've written. Yeah, nums mode. Nums 1 means have min max. Okay. One means you already have the minimum. You need to solve this on your own, Laksh. This is a good problem. Okay. So this is the idea that when you are at the ith element, if you decide to take it as the minimum, then you will go into state 1. If you take it as the maxima, then you will go into state 2. If you have taken the minima, then you can take the maxima. If you have taken the maxima, then you can only take it as the minima. These are the possible transitions, and based on that you compute the dp and you save it in the dp array, and the rest is just normal dp problem. Okay, and this is basically just given the array, find the minimum and rotate the array by from this index. Okay, there is, so you have made a rotate function kya? Or is it stl? I don't know if there is an stl for rotate. Oh, so you're finding the index of the minimum element, and from there onwards you rotate it. STL rotate, I don't know if it exists. Out of the two arrays that you create, with that being the last and that being the first, find the maximum. Okay. So this will make it as the first element, this will make it as the last element. Okay. This will basically start the rotation from the index idx. So the minimum will become the first element. This will make, it will start after the minimum. So when the rotation ends, the minimum will be at the end. So this is the last minimum at the end. Solve for both of them and find the maximum out of the both and give the answer. For both of them, you will initialize it, like you will create the DP array and do the recurrence. Okay, bro, were you in that 23 all kill in the contest? No, I'm like, coaches don't play. No, I don't participate anymore. Okay, got it. Nice. Yeah, definitely possible. Like the code would be faster. What does this do? This is basically like an array. Like it's a 3D array where each of the dimension is a 2D array. Okay. This is the idea for this problem. How to know if I'm thinking in the right direction in some problem, stuck, cannot move forward, my thought process. I think scribbling helps, but I think exhaustively trying to write whatever you have learned is the way forward. I mean, I try to think of what I have seen before in the problem, what kind of things are there. Okay. Clear? This is the code for this problem. I'll send it in the Telegram group. I don't know if you, by the way, guys, there is this new WhatsApp community also, which has the links to openings if you guys are actively hunting for a job. So that is also something you can join. Right. But in the Telegram group, I have sent the code that we have just discussed, because I know some of you would come and ask me, Vivek, where is the code? Am I correct that I'm able to do it because you can always choose segment with maximum minimum at the both ends like this? Yeah, you can do something similar, but yeah. Am I correct, like we're able to do this like because we can always choose the segment with max and minimum at both ends? No, it's not always true. I mean, you can do that. You can do that, and some element can be discarded. Yes, you can. You can actually do that. Yeah. Vivek, how's the SD market for SD2s? It's much better than SD1 for sure. Yeah, I like, but people are getting selected. Like there is luck involved again, but I think people are getting selected, and lot of my students also have gotten selected recently, and like there is active hiring going on in all companies. Yeah, see, if you are good, if you have the confidence, then you can switch fairly easily. Most people don't switch because they don't have confidence, because campus में कुछ तो भी करके लग गया है, and now you are no longer confident in your DSA skills, and you have not studied LLD and system design, so people don't even switch, don't even think about switching. That's why switching market is way easier. Just like like if you're in good colleges, intern is harder than placement because everybody's competing, but most people get out in their intern by getting PPO offers and all, and then placement is a little easier comparatively. And then once you get placed in companies, then job switch, most people are comfortable where they are and they don't want to switch, and that's why job switch market is way easier. So the progressively, the higher you go, the market is easier to switch, in my opinion. Okay, so that is why you it's easier as you progress further in SDX order. I'm in 2-1 and working on DSA daily, but regret to not doing. No, you should do a little bit of development also. Like, don't come and ask me those questions. Vivek, should I do DSA or development and all? Okay. दोनों करना है. You have to do both. There is no other way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for senior engineers, I think like the best possible period to build confidence on DSA is in your college or in the initial years, because if you don't do it, then you'll always feel this struggle that why am I not able to get good at DSA, and I'm not good enough to give interviews again, and so on. At a third year, there is enough time. Jab jago tabhi savera. Whenever you get started, it's enough. Someday you have to start, right? And it hardly takes like 6, 7, 8 months of good effort to be really hireable, in my opinion. Can you tell me features of Algozenith? You can see some videos on my channel. There is details of orientation session of Algozenith, and you can watch that. But yeah, I'm third year student. I barely solve LeetCode's unseen OA problems. Divyam, so that is the last video that I made on my YouTube. No? I wish next life mein first day of college mein AZ le lu. I think first day nahi. I'll recommend. I generally recommend people to join AZ in the second year. First year you enjoy. Okay, so this is the whole idea of solving this problem. This is the 8-pointer problem that I thought I'll add it in the title so that people understand this. And this is the way to think about this problem. And I showed you also that code forces problem, which is similar to this. Yeah, it's almost 1 hour, right? Oh shit. It's almost 1 hour discussing this problem. But it's a good problem. It's a good hard problem. Believe me, if you understand, see, do you know how do you grow in DSA? You watch streams like this, you try to understand what Vivek is saying, you get 50-60% of it, then you struggle to try and code it, you will get some wrong answer, but see why is it getting wrong answer and all. The moment you get accepted in that one problem, no, I can tell you 10 problem, this one problem, if you solve very well, understanding everything and writing the code why it's correctly working, you will learn more than 10 problems, no matter which problems you solve, random problems that you solve, easy medium problems. This is what people don't realize. You cannot directly jump to this problem. Of course, if you have no idea of DP, then you cannot solve this problem. But if you have learned DP, if you are already beyond the medium phase, then you have to solve more problems like this. That is the only possible way you can improve. I always say this, that the best material that you have on internet freely available is the streams that I teach. Just take the third, fourth problems and just keep practicing. Believe me, the amount of learning that you will have is huge. If you just do that, forget about is it anything. Just do that, and I'll tell you your learning would be huge. How to handle anxiety during interviews? See, don't give me count, but rated 1900, that should be good. I don't know. I think slowing down your pace is one good way. भैया मेरे को unpaid. Okay. I reached expert on CF and I want to reach yellow like you. How to proceed like resources. I think learning these non-trivial DP tricks is one of the next things to do. Becoming very good at graph is one more thing. Segmentary is something you'll have to improve, right? Assuming that, I mean, there's no judgment here, but assuming that most people nowadays are reaching expert, I've seen a lot of people with AI and all. That's not true expert, right? But if you are reaching expert, that means your basic idea is there. Basic idea of construction, ad hoc proving is built, maths built. So now you have to learn good techniques. Have you heard about अपना college web develop? क्या है ये सब? अपना college तो सपना college है. I have stuck on 1490. That's good rating, but थोड़ा सा और push करो. Don't forget being able to fit binary search everywhere. The function is monotonic. Lol. Yeah, yeah. This problem I was actually trying binary search. Like, is there an optimal cut point, like where I can binary search and get some cost and all? I was actually trying that when I was thinking of optimizing it. For me, expert, can you solve all OA other than companies? Like for me, an expert coder can solve. Yeah, except rubric directi, I think most, and HFTs, I think you can solve most companies. OAs, I'm not sure. Interview for sure. OAs, some companies have still hard questions because they randomly choose questions. Still 3 months left for internship in financial services. This is just general advice. I don't think I can give anything there. Try to find optimal point and then range query. I also thinking was that for 2-3 minutes, and then I was like, nahi, ye to nahi hone wala is question. Let's think of something else. Service now, look at the experiences, look at experience blogs, and then solve. So let's come back quickly. Now we'll go back to what we were solving. Now we'll go back to biweekly and solve the last problem. Subarray with majority element. What is this? Okay. Return the number of subarrays where nums is in which target is the. Oh, interesting. What is the range? 10 to the power 5. Yeah, for bi-weekly question 4, it's literally like that AZ problem where we do prefix sum plus multiset. Okay, nice. Yeah, basically you will take the target element as +1 and everything else as -1, and you have to find subarrays with sum greater than 0. Do you get it? Yeah. Basically, this question is saying you have to find subarray where the target element is the. Did you see how quickly I was able to solve? This is the speed at which you can possibly solve these problems if you are high rated. That's why I was saying that when I say 15 minutes means I was actually seeing this problem for the first time. So when I'm saying 15 minutes for the other problem means this is the speed. So target equal to X if it is given. And that is surely because of experience. Like I've seen similar problems before. Okay. I use merge sort tree. You can do it with merge sort tree, but that's harder. Like there is some XX over here and you have to figure out if X is the majority here. Basically you label X as +1 and everything else as -1. And you have to figure if in this part the sum is greater than 0, then X is in majority element. Okay. If all of them are +1, then this is what we do. So this is the trick of thinking of something as a majority in an array. There was this question that came in an OA. Given an array, find the number of subarrays where it's a 0-1 array. Like it contains 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Find the number of subarrays where number of zeros by number of ones is equal to, let's say, P by Q ratio, or say is greater than equal to P by Q ratio. This was a problem that came in an online assessment. Basically, it says that given an array, you have to figure out the number of subarrays. Let's take equal condition only for now. Number of zeros by number of ones is equal to P by Q. Right? So it is basically Q times number of zeros minus P should be equal to or minus P times number of ones equal to 0, right? This is what the subarray should satisfy. Or we can say Q times number of 0 plus minus P times number of ones is equal to 0. So in this array, if you replace zeros with plus Q, and you are replacing 1 with minus P's, you are basically trying to find out subarrays with sum equal to 0. Yeah, I have taken this one in one of the previous streams. This is the old inspiration problem, and this is like the easier version of that same question. Okay. This I have covered in one of my old streams. Clear? So this is the idea for this problem. Just make the targets as plus ones and other elements as minus one, and you have to find the number of ranges with greater than 0. So basically, when you are having like if you're dealing this as the endpoint and you're doing contribution technique, that the prefix sum here is P. So P prefix of R is some known value. Then you have to figure out how many different prefix of L minus ones are less than prefix of R, and then because then only the difference of that will be greater than 0. So you just need to find how many previous values in the prefix sums are greater than the current value. So you can maintain some sort of like ordered set, and in that you can query, given P of R, how many elements are less than P of R in the set. You can use ordered set, you can use Fenwick tree, you can use segment tree to solve this. But yeah, I sent the code for this, but after context I was trying to solve this. If target element is not given, any like count number of subarrays with any majority element, not just that target. Okay, so basically so we can try to think of some sort of contribution only per element and see how many subarrays are there with that element being the majority. Maybe somewhere in that direction you can try and solve. Yeah, finding the number of subarrays with sum equal to greater than 0 is hard. Even if you update it with 0, it's a little harder. I think the way I would do it is for every element we can compress the array, right? Because for every element it will be the number of elements will be 2 times the number of frequency of that element. Like that elements, like you can compress the array with the runs, like that element, something not that element in a compressed value. And then maybe on that array you can do something in future. I think that might be the direction to think about that. But it's still harder. I don't think we'll see that kind of problems yet. Yeah. Or I think you can also think of it like if the array is all minus ones, you will incrementally change the values with plus ones for the element which you are currently considering. And in that subarray, you have to count the this. So as you are making something plus, you have to figure out how many. That's much harder. Okay, that's much harder. I don't think I'll have to think about it right now. I have I have purchased 5 black t-shirts for office. This is something I was trying out just normally. This is not really the shirt. This is like zipper kind of thing. I'll be traveling to Delhi also, I think. Some college visits. Just packing some cold clothes. ठंडी के लिए कपड़े पता नहीं ठंड तो है उस साइड. Yeah. Yeah, online majority you can do randomization algorithm also. Okay. N95, yeah, I could buy that also, right? Good idea. Please explain how to select the number to keep all its occurrence as plus ones. I don't take personal connects as such calls. Yeah, in Visakhapatnam, I remember we had visited your college. Super good to see that people are still coming back to the channel. Merge sort idea. Yeah, that we discussed. No? Merge sort idea is that, like in the merge sort, you can see while merging how many elements are, like it's almost like finding inversion in the reverse array. If you build the prefix sum array, you are almost looking for inversions in the array. Like finding the elements which are less than u is same as in the reverse array, find the element which is bigger than u previously. That's same as inversion that you can do. Okay. Okay. Now, let's take the last problem. I think it has gone overboard the time I thought it will take me. It will take me 45 minutes. Lexicographically smallest string that is both palindromic permutation and strictly greater than target. Oh, nice. Palindromic substring, palindromic permutation of S. Then maybe like build some frequency array, then try see if it's possible. This is the finding kth solution kind of an idea that I think, I don't know. O of n square is easily, like for every index you can try the 26 characters and check easily. Yeah, it is similar to AZ permutation hard. Correct. If you go in reverse like this, okay. This is exactly its extension of previous contest question. I don't know what it is. Yeah, but basically the idea is, if this is the input S and this is the target, we can, like, I think I need to take a better example. But क्या दिए ये लोग, ठीक है. So this is the target and you need to be more than this, and AAAC is there. Okay. So basically, if you are given, like, there is a string that you are creating and there is a target string given, and this string has to be greater than this, from what I understood. Greater than or less than? Greater than. Yeah, greater than that. And the character set, like when you have to say permutation, means how many times A is present, how many times B is present. This frequencies of the characters is given to you. Like frequency map is given to you basically. Permutations means you have to rearrange the same set of characters. So the frequency is what is matter. So now, suppose here there is B. And if it has to be greater than this, can you put A here? No, because this will be less than this. Can you put B here? You can, only if this part can be possibly bigger than this, because this is already fixed B here. So if you can place B here and make this rest of the part bigger than this, then it is possible. And the way you check this is if you put Z, like whatever is the maximum character, maximum thing here, if it is not reverse sorted, then you can possibly handle it. But rest all, I think you have to just put the everything in the descending, in the worst possible case, and then see if you can still make it bigger than this. If it is possible, then B you can place here, or else you will try with C. C though you can always place, and it's now free. You can do anything here. Okay, something like that you can try to maintain. Yeah, so there are bunch of characters which will have 2 frequency, and there will be some character which will have odd frequency. That one odd character will become the middle element, like whatever is the middle element, it will become that. D suppose has 3, so that D will be in middle, and rest all has to be palindrome, so it has to be even frequency. And then you can put the first character and see can you fill the rest or not. If you can fill such that it's bigger, then that is the character that you will have over here, or else try the next character. Since the length was 300, you can just do this brute force. That for every character, since you are lexicographically creating, put that character and try to see if you can possibly make. And when you are saying is it possible or not, just try the worst, like try the largest possible value, like put Z, Z, Y, Y, and so on, and see if you can possibly just get bigger than this. Or okay, that should be the strategy. Yeah, I think maybe someday this will come as a must in contest. Okay, great. Chalo, this is what we'll keep it for today. I'll just take few more minutes and answer some questions. We'll take 5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes to ask me some questions. We have discussed most of the questions that are there. Good, good यार, अच्छा हूँ. Yes, O of n में greedily assign करना होगा. Correct. Reducing time complexity is bit difficult for this, I guess. No, it's 26 for every character. For every character you are trying 26, and then you are doing a check of n. So 26 into n for every character, n square maybe. That's the thing. For half, iterating backwards and checking is it possible won't work. Yes, it is possible. Or you can just put it and check. No, like anyways the string was small, 300. O of n check is works. Next, is it batch will be from 6th December. Will you revisit our campus again? If yes, then how to connect with you? That is something only Prayag can handle. If you just shoot out a mail to me, I'll connect you with Prayag and he can handle it from there onwards. भैया एयर पोल्यूशन प्रोटेस्ट ज्वाइन करना चाहिए. काम पढ़ाई करो भाई. करना चाहिए बट अब कुछ नहीं कर सकते मेरे ख्याल से. It's just a longer code since it's a lot of cases. Yeah, exactly. It happens on, like, there are 4 to 5 cohorts every year, and depending on that it keeps rotating. It's like different, it's not fixed actually. Sir, can you come to NIT Jammu near Delhi? I don't think so. So I think I'm in Delhi from 16th to 21, 20, something like that. Then I might go home. Then I think once I'm visiting, I don't know, there's still planning to be done there. I don't have my return tickets yet. Sir, I am BTech second year. How to take internship? Become good at one skill that you can give to any company and then try to get an internship. There are so many small companies that want people who can build tech for them. I sometimes feel very weird when people come and say that Vivek, intern, well, I'm actually very good in development and I'm not getting intern. Internally, the development will help. Even DSA helps in certain types of companies, but I think development helps more in internship. AZ patches generally run for 6 months. It will run for 6 months. Every 2 to 3 months a batch starts, and it's a closed small cohort that runs. Beyond the first few classes, I feel you will see 50, 60 odd people in the classes, and it's a very good cohort. I feel I love teaching in that thing, that setup. When the quality is going to increase, yeah, I'm actually going to come back and then try to set up the StreamYard. Sorry, what is it called? OBS or Streams Labs on my computer. Last time I tried, there was some lag issue and all, so that's why I removed it. But maybe when I'll come back to Bangalore again after this small trip, I'll reset up it. So how is AZ placement sale going on? You don't place success stories. So the problem with placement cell is you cannot really post all companies and ऐसे ज़्यादा नाम वाम नहीं दिखा सकते आप. That's the problem. But I'll post some more results eventually. I do post some on LinkedIn. Some of them are through like, okay, I think I can put some screenshots. I'll anonymize the name and all. My brother is from local college now. He has 6 crore flat and 60 LPA job as chef software engineer. Chef software engineer in Bangalore? Okay, the chief. Yeah, it's possible. Why do you think that it's not possible? Yeah, it is possible that you join after that. Okay. Don't paste the same thing too many times. I'll read it in one time. Bro, will you please explain about webhooks? क्या explain करूँ मैं उसमें? API कॉल करता है वो होने के बाद क्या उसमें क्या explain करूँ? Webhooks is just a API endpoint that when some task completes, it is supposed to call you back there and then you will run some piece of code. That's all. और क्या है? Or competing DSA platforms like thoughts on competing DSA platforms like take you forward. देखो तो वही है कि तुम्हें like see the thing that you have to realize, which don't most people don't, is what level of prep you are in. If you are absolute beginner कि बस programming language आता है, right? So then I think there is already enough resources on YouTube where you don't need any structured guidance also, I feel. But once you have learned DSA, the theoretical DSA and some things, then you want to proceed to level 3, then AZ is there. I don't think there is any other company which teaches at the level AZ teaches. It's not possible. I'm not talking about good teaching. I'm talking about the difficulty of concepts that's required actually. So that I don't think is possible also. Just like taking problems like this that we are taking in this stream, I don't think anybody would be interested in teaching these kind of problems as well. So if you want to learn the harder parts, like medium to harder, when you want to go to the third and fourth problems of LeetCode Weekly, you come to AZ. If you're stuck at the first problem only, then I think AZ is a little too hard for you. If once you are able to solve the first 1, 2 problems and you want to learn the third, fourth problems, that's when you come to AZ. Okay. Do Dev plus DSA and Dev 2 at good level? No, I don't think it's very difficult. It's just you have decided in your mind that it's very hard. It's possible that you can become good at both. But yeah, you can be better at one of them, in my opinion. Like nobody I have seen is extremely good in both of them, but you will be better in one of them than the other. But it's fine. Still not satisfied. What do reach yellow without cheating? That's this. I don't think I have an answer for this. Is it is brutal. I started from level 1 and it bled me every day. Yeah, there has been many stories of people who have joined in level 1 and then it was like extremely hard. And I have some of my students who were very beginner, of course, would have told me that Vivek mar ke main question complete karta tha. But once you complete it, you get a different level of confidence, which is not possible no matter how much what the practice you do in that amount of time. It's impossible, in my opinion. Suggest some resources for core concepts or interviews to cover in depth. But there is very good material available on maang.in freely for all, and that you can use. Okay. I'm doing BCA. Tell me what I want to do from where. Irrelevant question. Just Google this right now. OpenAI raised almost $1 trillion like revenue with like 18 billion a year. What do you think about that? So I think there is potential in OpenAI, in my opinion. And most of valuation in a trendy domain happens on selling potential, number one, and the advantages that you have. I think there is significant advantage to OpenAI. What is AZ? AZ stands for Algozenith, for those who don't know. Like I teach there essentially. I can't afford premium. Is it possible to get some discount if possible? I don't know. If you can talk to the team on the number that is there, you can talk to them. I think there are some discount that keeps running once in a while. So you can check that. But it covers everything: DSA, dev, web development, machine learning, projects, hackathons, everything is there. Yeah, you can start with any playlist on YouTube. Guys, I think the problem is not which playlist to choose. Okay? It's just students come and tell me that Vivek, I'm not feeling that I'm ready to start study. You know? And I tell them that being ready is not a feeling to have, it's a decision to make. So the day you decide that you want to study, you will study, or else that day will never come. Okay, that's how it is. Do you have stock investment in Nvidia? No, sadly. Or else I would have had a lot more money. Hypothetically, are you open for this? I can think of keeping control and maybe tying up with some edtech which has more distribution, because I think sometimes I feel Algozenith is something that most people don't know in India, or else it could have become much bigger than it currently is. So maybe on the marketing and sales side, potentially it can improve, but content and the quality, I think I'll keep in check myself. You know. Yeah, contest though there is phase wise is there, and then at the end, then there are more mixed contests. It's possible to have more contests. We're actually planning to have more open contests. सर इंडिया में, सर इंडस्ट्रीज में गुड प्लेसमेंट के लिए कौन कौन टेक्नोलॉजीज का मैक्सिमम फोकस होना चाहिए? यू शुड नो वन फुल स्टैक properly. In my opinion, that is one basic thing. Learn the foundations very well and have good projects. टेक्नोलॉजीज की बात करें, बाकी तो डीएसए है ही उसके, that's there. Okay, chalo. So we are now at the mark. Please, I want to pursue this. By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen, but I'll actually. So so most of my time goes in like learning a lot of things. So I was learning this like Octa analysis framework as psychology and all, basically game designing and all, gamification essentially. So there are a lot of things that is going to come in future time. GPT clone is good if you can reduce the latency and all. Okay. Make a surprise entry in LeetCode contest using username as Algozenith. Yeah, I think that's a good marketing strategy. Yeah, that's a good marketing strategy. Algozenith, just maybe get, I don't know if I'll be India rank 1, but maybe get 1, 2, 3 rank in India, and then that is like a marketing for Algozenith. Okay, I don't want to do that. Do HFTs companies hire in Rust? Some does, but I think mostly in C++ and some in Python I've seen, but I don't know why they're in Python, but most in C++. Kumar K DC Q&A. I have not seen many of the videos. I think I have seen that he had tried some posting OA questions and all, but I don't know more than that. Hope it helps. Coaches don't play, but what if? Yeah, I know. I don't think that will be fair, in my opinion. Like, I think if somebody keeps doing a field and then comes back and tries to grab all the top ranks, that doesn't make sense, in my opinion. I think people who are doing it now should try to fight. It's not like there are not people who can beat me. Even in current times, there are people who are higher rated than me and can beat me. That's not possible. That's definitely possible. But then that should be enough, Abhishek. Yeah, it is possible. You can join after Feb batch. Skill give lead code content. I mean, some grandmasters still give lead code content. Yeah, I mean, it's a good practice. Like, if you, this is a good question. Yeah, देखो, don't go by like कि oh lead code है कि code forces है कि art coder है. Wherever you get good questions is what you should solve. What do you think of Dominator? I think extreme practice plus prodigy, I feel. He has prodigy level thinking, in my opinion. It's not like, I don't think we'll be able to match Dominator in most cases because he has, like, beyond a certain range, beyond 2500, it's an IQ game. 2600, it's an IQ game, and you cannot match that. Matlab, unless you have that IQ, you cannot match it. It's no, I don't think it's possible. Okay. Chalo, let's wrap it up over here. Chess is not IQ based beyond a certain level. Depends on what type of IQ you are talking about. So IQs has different axes, and you have to learn what types of axes you are actually evaluating yourself on. Okay. And if you will read about it, you will get a lot of documentation. And I had read about it, that there is visualization scales and so on. There are multiple different axes. Would you keep discussion contest of code forces? At this point, I have not thought about it because it's already too much on my plate, in my opinion. How do you think average package is 3 LPA? Build something beyond your college, I feel. Be in an environment where you can be beyond your college, I feel. From SY, when I start DSA, please guide how should I. If you want to start, I think get hold of language very well. Most people don't do that and then start learning some algorithms and stuff. If you're good at language and just implementation, you can actually get past most of the places. Do you consider yourself as prodigy or hardworking? I'm fairly hardworking, in my opinion. I don't think I have prodigy level IQ at all. You guys might. So now when you see me solving, you guys can think that, oh, Vivek, you are able to solve it so easily. But you understand, right? Like, I have been doing this for, like, I competed in my college for 3 years, and I've been teaching it for 6 years after that. It has been like too much of time of me spending with this. So of course I would be able to solve problems much more than you probably. But then it's not prodigy, I can tell you that. I don't have prodigy level IQ. It's just that I have solved so many problems, and that I think falls in the category of hardworking. I could show you that same problem, right? That came on Code Forces, that same question I just quickly open close trick on that non-trivial blog. I have seen all those things, questions multiple times. And that's why I'm able to solve these problems. Okay. Placement series next weekend. I'll take some questions. Okay. Which playlist? I just made a video on my YouTube. Watch the previous video if you are asking about playlist. Which playlist is better? यही पूछते पूछते तुम्हारी प्रिपरेशन खत्म हो जा रही है. Okay. Chalo. That would be all. I'll wrap it up over here. Thanks for joining in, everyone. I hope you guys got some value today. We will talk about more such stuff in another stream. Last weekend, I could not take a chill stream. I remember I told, but again, I don't know if I'll be able to take even now also. I will be traveling from Tuesday onwards. So I'll see. I'll see whenever I can squeeze in some time. But I hope you guys enjoy content. Whenever you feel like you are missing me, you can go back to the previous live streams I've taken and solve questions from there. And you will obviously get a lot of things to learn even from those links. those problems, right? So that is what will be there from my side today. I'll see you in the next stream. Thanks for joining in. Bye bye.